Today on Hearts of Heroes, a fire erupts at a Michigan golf course, putting first responders' lives at risk.
You can feel the heat through your gears. You can feel that it's roaring.
Then, one fire department comes to the rescue of another.
Sure seems like we're home.
This is absolutely amazing what's happening here today.
And later, first responders have only moments to revive a man who was caught in a house fire.
Heavy smoke pushing from the rear. We need EMS.
The patient was in respiratory arrest. He had a very shallow respiratory effort.
Nothing was going to stop these heroes from saving the day. Many people take up golf as a way to relax, spend time with friends, and enjoy the outdoors.
But when a building on a golf course in Michigan caught on fire, well, it wasn't the peaceful day it should have been, but rather a potential disaster.
Just outside of Detroit, Michigan, sits the community of Romulus.
It's a great city to live in. So you have a little bit of country and a city, you know, on all parts of our city.
Although the city only covers about 36 square miles, it is home also to Michigan's largest airport.
There's a lot of people coming in and out of the town from out of state, out of country, so you get a diversity of people.
But the airport isn't the only important hub in the city. The Gateway Golf Course is also a centerpiece.
It's just the beauty of being outdoors, spending your time out where everything is manicured and green. It's a time in a person's week. It's like a 4-hour vacation from the stress of the job or whatever it is people are going through.
That golf course supports the community in a number of different ways because they're always hosting fundraiser events and tournaments and everything else that support the community. It became really kind of a center point hub for us to gather and see each other.
On the morning of October 21st, 2021, a fire threatened to destroy this important community gathering place.
As the morning started, I was in early as usual, preparing for the day, and I heard a couple of loud bangs. I would say almost like a large pipe hitting a metal building.
The sound was coming from the maintenance room, which is attached to the clubhouse. Owner Dennis Ross went over to investigate.
I went into the shop area, and upon entering the shop, I could see smoke beginning to come through the very top edge of the wall. When I opened the door, the speed of the wind, the temperature, and the molten, I assume, plastic that was hitting my body, it was extremely violent, the fire, beyond what I expected.
The shed that housed about 85 golf carts was fully engulfed in flames. Dennis immediately called 911.
When they arrived on scene, those first two engines, they realized it was the entire structure that was on fire.
It wasn't just about the cart shed. Yes, that was in jeopardy, but so was the entire clubhouse.
You could see the glow of the fire. You could see the shape of the smoke coming out of the roof.
Firefighters knew how important this golf course was to their community. They had no choice but to go inside the burning building.
Anytime we're dealing with fire in a confined space, we want to make sure that we're getting in there, we're identifying what we're dealing with, and we're getting water on that fire and extinguishing it as quick as possible.
The confined space posed significant challenges.
The biggest thing for us is if you can imagine 85 golf carts parked bumper to bumper, 3 or 4 rows deep, and trying to get to the middle of them to put the fire out.
There's a lot of heavy smoke, so you can't really see, and you don't know what's in the warehouse. They told us that there were golf carts, but other than that, you don't know if there were any oils or any cleaners that could have been burned or anything of that kind of sorts.
It was very difficult for them to climb over those golf carts that were partially burned or partially melted to get to the seat of the fire and get it out.
It was very hot in there. It was very hot. As soon as we breached that garage door, so it's cooking.
We did notice a slight sag in the roof, so my main thing was to not let guys enter too far into the area that was on fire.
As firefighters attacked the blaze, they soon realized that they had another life-threatening danger on their hands. The shed was attached to a maintenance room, and that stored diesel fuel, chemicals, and other highly flammable substances.
They knew where it was located and the hazards that were there.
Coming up, Firefighters have only minutes before the entire clubhouse goes up in flames.
Inside of that shed, you could see all the golf carts that were just on fire.
But first, this safety tip.
First responders regularly put their lives on the line to keep us safe.
Our ultimate goal is to keep everyone safe. It's an honor to serve the communities where we live, work, and play.
A note of appreciation, a quick thank you, and a little gratitude goes a long way for all the work our heroes do.
In October of 2021, a fire erupted at a golf course in Romulus, Michigan. The focal point of the fire was a room that stored 85 golf carts. Firefighters valiantly battled the smoke and flames.
Inside of that shed, you could see all the golf carts that were just on fire, and it had high ceilings, so usually heat rises. So if you know that you're feeling the heat down at the bottom, you know that it's pretty hot in there.
To make matters worse, the shed was right next to a room that stored combustible liquids like diesel and chemicals.
We contained the fire because we did not let it jump into the maintenance room that had all the flammables in it. The fertilizer room was safe, so we didn't have to evacuate the area of residents. We didn't have to call a hazmat team.
So stopping that group of equipment from burning was key to saving the rest of the building.
Dennis knows that the quick actions of the fire department were key to saving the building.
The Romulus Fire Department, I don't think they could have done a better job. They were able to save 2/3 of the building, and there was approximately $1.5 million worth of equipment in the shop that would have been destroyed.
Still, the fire had caused significant damage, and it would have to be addressed before Gateway Golf Course could reopen.
We lost the north third of the building, which was the cart storage area, is coming down.
That's when our sponsor, Belfour Property Restoration, stepped in to help.
The first time I walked in this building, just a lot of smoke, soot damage, smell was heavy, strong with smoke. As I walked further into the building, you could start seeing more structural damage.
They were on site. The next day we had electrical teams, we had mechanical teams, and so it started a very intense process of turning this around.
What we'll be doing is once we clear out all the contents in here, we'll start removing all the steel in here, the roof decking, bar joists, beams, purlins, and getting it ready for the rebuild.
It's a huge undertaking, but they plan on having Gateway in working order in the next few months.
We want to try to get the clubhouse up and running this beginning of spring when the golf season starts, and then work on the other areas later in that year.
Getting the golf course back open first thing in the spring is important so that the people, the leagues that play, the people that play out here have that opportunity to spend time with each other. It's an important time socially.
But this is not the only time that Belfour and the Romulus Fire Department have worked together. 7 years ago, Belfour started a program called From Our Firehouse to Yours, where larger fire departments donate equipment to smaller, less funded departments.
Some fire departments, they have equipment they're going to dispose of, and instead of disposing of it, why not give it to other departments that don't have some of this equipment?
Today, a caravan of trucks, trailers, and fire engines will be taking a load of life-saving equipment to the Escanaba Township firefighters. It's a remote fire department in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan.
This means a lot to us up here. Our budgets don't cover what we need, and this donation is amazing. So it's definitely going to benefit a lot of us up here.
Denny Hughes, creator of the program, is a former firefighter and a member of the Belfour team.
This is just a portion of the fire gear and equipment that we've collected throughout the year that's actually going to end up going up to the Escanaba Township Fire Department. Behind us is an enclosed trailer. We have 3 more pickup trucks that are going and 2 more trailers on top of that.
Once all the equipment was loaded up, Denny and Sheldon Yellen led the parade to Escanaba.
What we're doing is delivering approximately $1 million worth of used fire equipment.
I've never met the chief.
You have not met him?
No, we probably talked on the phone 100 times.
I got a feeling in about 10 minutes.
He's going to be my brother for life.
I
can tell you that.
I would bet on that.
Well, there's a flagpole. I'm not sure if that's where we're headed, but I'm thinking it is.
Sure seems like we're home. If we stop for just one moment and think about the commitment that these men and women have made to run in while everybody else is running out. It's an incredible commitment because they don't even know who they're going into or for. Thank you, all of you, for your service, for your commitment to our communities. Bless you all from our hearts. Let's keep paying it forward. Denny, thank you.
I think now is the moment of truth, and we're going to open it nice and slow.
Because of this generous donation, the Escanaba Township Fire Department will have the equipment to save lives as well as protect their own.
The fire industry as a whole kind of owes it to each other to make sure that we're initiating programs like this and that these programs are in place for some of our smaller departments that don't have the public funding.
I think everybody should pitch in whatever they can to help out. So this is absolutely amazing what's happening here today.
Coming up, a man's life hangs in the balance as rescuers race to save him from a house fire.
Every minute they spend in the building breathing in that bad smoke, it creates more damage to their lungs.
First responders will tell you their #1 job, above all else, is to protect and save lives.
And a group of heroes in Pennsylvania kept that promise when they found an unconscious man in his burning home.
In southern Pennsylvania, you'll find the quaint borough of Mechanicsburg, population just under 9,000. As its name suggests, the community was settled by a group of mechanics who made and repaired Conestoga wagons.
I like to call it the biggest small town ever. It has a lot of small town vibes, but it's rapidly growing. A lot of new people and businesses are popping up.
It's a great place to live, to work, and obviously there's lots and lots of recreation out there in the Pennsylvania outdoors.
Throughout the township, you'll see buildings and homes that reflect the rich history, including the Mechanicsburg Fire Department.
The first fire company was organized in 1858. It was this particular building, so we're over 100 years old.
Mechanicsburg Fire Department's a good group of people, hardworking, devoted to what they do, protecting the town.
That devotion to their town was apparent when a duplex fire broke out in the summer of 2021. That day, Ronald TROXELL was getting ready to work a late shift.
I was actually in my room, and around 5 o'clock when I was actually getting ready to head out the door, and I heard the smoke alarms going off in the house.
When Ronald opened up his bedroom door, he was overwhelmed by thick, dark smoke.
When I saw the black smoke, I shut the door again, and I basically had to think fast because I had to decide how I was going to get out.
Ronald tried to remain calm, but realized he really only had 2 options. He could climb out the second-story window and jump, or he could try to crawl down the stairs to the front door.
Fire professionals stress that you should always have an evacuation plan in case of a fire. You never want to try and figure out how to get out when you are faced with that kind of emergency.
Ronald felt his best chance was to try to make it to the front door.
It looked like the smoke was high enough that I could go down low, and if I crawled to the stairs, I could just crawl down and be out. As I crawled, though, the smoke ended up getting worse.
Ronald was breathing in the toxic smoke and lost consciousness on the stairs. Thankfully, a neighbor heard the fire alarms and called 911.
Got a 2.5-story duplex. Heavy smoke pushing from the rear.
Whoever called 911 knew that there was something serious going on.
We had a 2.5-story house. The front door, I had smoke down about the doorknob level of pure black smoke, which is an indicator that that's a lot of content fire. With the black smoke that was issuing out the front door, I knew that that is ignitable smoke. And if it gets to the right temperature, that could create a flashover. If there was an individual that was inside the building, it was going to be risky to have the responders go in and search for the victim.
Fire Chief Gary Neff knew that if they were going to save Ronald's life, they had to move quickly.
Whenever they got there was no messing around. They had their gear on, fully masked up. I talked to one of the individuals, Savannah. She gets off the engine, and Savannah, there's somebody inside. You gotta get them.
Coming up, rescuers have to perform life-saving resuscitation.
Whenever someone's not breathing, the seconds matter.
But first, another safety tip.
House fires are one of the scariest situations you can find yourself in.
Having multiple smoke alarms in your home can help alert you and get you out of the house in case of a fire starts. Remember to regularly check the batteries to make sure your smoke alarms are working correctly.
Inspecting your smoke alarms regularly might give you the extra time you need to make it out safely in the event of a fire.
In August of 2021, Ronald TROXELL was at home when a fire broke out in his two-story duplex. As he tried to crawl down the stairs to escape, he passed out from inhaling the smoke. When firefighters got there, they knew they only had minutes to get him out alive.
It's very important to get in and get out pretty quick. Every minute they spend in the building breathing in that bad smoke, it creates more damage to their lungs.
Chief Gary Neff sent firefighters Savannah Tadez and James Archer into the house to rescue Ronald. The two firefighters split up to search for him.
I got to a back kitchen door. I could hear the fire and feel the heat.
And I started to go up the stairs a little bit to start a search of the second floor when I found the victim on the stairs. I tried to shake his leg a little bit to see if he was arousable at all, and he wasn't. I honestly just yelled as loud as I could to notify Jamie that I had found who we were looking for.
When I got over to him in Savannah, he was about halfway down the staircase. He didn't seem responsive.
Our priority was to get him out of the house. We got some reinforcements from the next crew coming in the door, and we all pretty much grabbed like an arm or a leg and started pulling him out of the building.
The victim's been removed from the fire building. We need EMS.
As they rushed Ronald outside, EMT Justin Eberly and EMT Battalion Chief Jonathan Fisher had just arrived.
I went up onto the porch to assist them with moving the victim to the front porch and then subsequently down to the front sidewalk where we would begin resuscitation efforts.
The patient was in respiratory arrest. The basic life support providers were providing bag valve mask rest to him.
Whenever someone's not breathing, they potentially don't have a pulse, the seconds matter. Every second, every minute that goes by, it decreases the chances of survival.
The EMTs performed CPR and gave Ronald a breathing mask, but his condition was critical. They had to get him to the hospital.
We knew the ambulances were staged at least a block away, so we had to go with the victim on the stretcher about a block over top of fire hoses and get back into the ambulance.
When they got to the hospital, they rushed him straight to critical care. While his condition was not good, he was going to survive. Battalion Chief Fisher went back to the fire to deliver the news.
Upon my return, I engaged Chief Neff and I gave him an update in regards to the patient condition.
At that time, I ended up bringing all the responders together. And we had a celebration, and what a celebration it was, to thank all the individuals that were working that particular job.
For their heroic efforts, the fire department and EMTs were honored by the Mechanicsburg Borough Council. And recently, Ronald had a chance to thank them personally.
So August 3rd, 2021 started out as an average day, but obviously very, very memorable day for us, and we'll forever cherish that day for the reason that Ronnie TROXELL is still with us. I want to thank you as responders that you were able to uphold your mission.
Thank you very much for everything, and it's just a blessing in disguise. It was stars put in line for that day when everything happened and all. I just thank you just for putting your hearts and all just to be there with blessings and just saving.
We don't usually meet people the way we did and then get to reunite with them, so this is a cool experience.
This is one of the first times we've been able to see somebody in such a terrible position, but then also be able to meet you and see you here standing in real life today.
Thank you. Thank you, Ronnie.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, David. Each and every one is a hero, even though they will not admit it. And that's one thing I will say. They are all heroes in the long run because they all put their lives and their dedication to protect us.
Surviving any disaster really starts with you, the personal responsibility of being educated at the risks and also being prepared.
And to know that there will always be brave heroes who will step up in a time of need.
Thank you all so much for watching. We'll see you next time.